Okay.
Okay. Had Tom post two documents up there on the site today. One going to Federal District Chief Judge and one going to the Federal District Clerk of the Court. You can use these layouts to even go to your state district court clerk and district court judge. You just reword them somewhat and change the address. Need to look at how I've got my address up there on the item because there's a couple things there. We are a free American admiralty president. We want to be in admiralty. You do not want to be in sovereignty. If you're in sovereignty, you're also in an isolationist or type position, okay? You're not dealing in commerce. You have to deal in commerce, no matter where you live, if you're interfacing with anybody and having any monetary transactions. You're in commerce. You don't have to be in commercial commerce of using usury and the debt money system in the process. But we will be utilizing it, but we'll be also coming back and getting our discounts back in what's going on here. But you have to be in admiralty. Otherwise, like I said, to claim that you're a sovereign, you're going to get your sovereignty as an isolationist, and basically that's been proven out by several people that go into jail, and what do they get? They get isolation confinement, okay, as an isolationist. They want to be a sovereign, they'll give them isolation, and that's what you get when you want to be a sovereign. You want to be an admiralty. You want to have your authority back. And you are a principal resident. Now, when you were born, you were just a resident, okay, at the address. So you do not use C/O in front of your address or anything like that. The only thing you will say is outside or near the federal zone, and then put your zip code with your box number in brackets. You're not inside that box, that mailbox that has that number, that zip code, federal zone zip code on it. But you need to have that for delivery of the mail. Now, you can also, if you want to, put a secondary mailbox up outside there and say resident or principal resident mail. The postal inspector will not protect that mailbox. They only protect the federal zone mailbox. Now, you are a president when you come of age. Then you become either a principal resident or, for a woman, a protected resident. You take the P off of principal, you take the P off of protected, you put it in front of resident, and now you've got your president. In grade school, we were told that everybody in America could be a president. We are. They didn't lie to us. You can't be the president of the United States of a corporation unless you've got you sold your soul to the dark side out there, pretty much, and you're a complete idiot that wants to be bought and paid for, like Obama, Bill Clinton, George Bush, all those nitwits. They were the principal resident in the White House. That's all they were, okay? So that's one of the key things is there is to keep your address clean as a principal residence, your president. Then your house and everything then becomes your White House, your protected zone. If you get hauled into court or anything like that, you change the venue immediately to Admiralty. You want Admiralty in there. You come in with your flag, your American Admiralty flag, which is the snake, coil snake, saying, "Don't tread on me," versus their foreign corporation, chartered corporation flag, red, white, and blue. Okay? I don't care whether it's got gold around it or whatever. The red, white, and blue is the East India Company flag colors, all the way back to the 16 whatever. So you can look over these two documents that I put up there. And we go in and we are the president, a president, judge of age in this Admiralty action. You pass it through the clerk of the court and direct them to give this attached letter to the judge. There is no, since this action is an American Admiralty open court action, there is no court fees. There is no required forms to be filed in their records. And as an American Admiralty court president, all court documents will be delivered back to the president to be stored in my presidential records. Just like George Bush, Bill Clinton, and all them. They have their presidential records. That's where all their stuff got stored. It didn't get stored in the county records, court records, whatever. That's why I put that in there, to make that clear that this is my court. This is not their court. You don't use notaries, public notaries. You use a public notary, you are going into their system. You either get two witnesses or you use your right and left index finger when you know and understand and can defend the usage of them. That's your boundary markers. Okay. Now, I put mine in today. Mine went in the mail this afternoon with my 5 attached documents out there to go to the judge to basically bring about the closure of what we've been trying to do here for years. We've been told by different people, different judges even, that you can do this yourself. Well, I think I'm doing this myself. I'm taking control. I put in the order to release my registered financial vessels and cargo, my American citizenship, which is my certificate of live birth registration document. That is your American citizenship. Then you have your U.S. citizenship, which is your Social Security posted financial vessel. That basically is an attachment to your American citizenship sitting in the same place. And then you have your U.S. citizenship passport, which is a postal passbook financial vessel. A passbook savings account. And then if you were in the military, you have a DD-214 bounty vessel. And then if you got baptized either or into like the Jewish people get into their system. Anybody that basically has been tied in a baptismal scenario is basically has allowed their financial assets to be used as collateral for the creditor to the United States corporation. Okay? And we have a Cesta K financial trust vessel that is held at the church at St. Patrick's Building, Trust Building in New York City. So all these vessels are out there, but they're all financial vessels. And basically we have to go to the federal district court to have these processed. Like one of the guys found out, and I've been saying this, in Title 46 in the shipping under Chapter 307, that you need to go into the district courts. But we need to go in there in admiralty. There we stand as the president judge, and we can direct the chief district court judge to become the chief administrative executor as a bar member to act as an interfacing judicial officer for the just settlement between the two different monetary and banking jurisdictions out here. That's what we're dealing with, okay? So we're coming in. We've already paid our prices, especially if you've got a passport. Everything is prepaid, your mailings and everything, with the passport. And that's why I said the last time that I use first-class mailing, postage and mailing prepaid per permit number and put my passport number. $300 penalty envelopes. We were all going to the wrong place. We need to go to the district court in admiralty and present those documents in there. We claim the penalty back. Everything needs to go to the American Admiralty. All taxes, all charges, everything is supposed to be going to the American Admiralty. And that's you. It's your account that basically most all of these items were derived from. So you, in that case, have the pardoning power to pardon your U.S. citizen and any infractions, any tax liabilities. You can pardon them because all income tax is a tariff tax, and all taxes, tariff taxes, were supposed to go back to America, not directly to the corporation, their back pocket. The government was only supposed to be able to collect the taxes and then put it into the American people's treasury. You have to understand how this whole system was set up. We knew that we didn't have to use forms. We knew that we did not have to pay these filing fees that they have, extraordinary, $350 or something like that for a damn filing fee. Totally ridiculous. We want justice. Well, the only justice you're really going to get is in admiralty. And one of those in the Constitution, in the statutes at large, it says you can submit a document in as almost like as chicken scratching, and the court has to accept it. And I went around and around with the clerk of the court's office at the international trade, arguing with them. But I did not tell them that this is an admiralty action until just the other day when I sent them a fax back and said the jurisdiction's now moved over to admiralty. Now process the damn stuff. But I'm not going to rely upon them. I'm going to also hit the district court. I hit the day before yesterday. I hit my state district court with my driver's license, my certificate of title to my vehicle, my voter registration card, and the usage of my certificate of live birth by the state. If you have a marriage license, you can put that one in there. All licenses basically are an insurance policy. Everything is about insurance out here. And every license or certificate has an insurance policy attached to it. You have to go in and claim those insurance policies. Don't walk away from them. You're letting them then come in and claim it as abandoned property. And my God, they do. We found that out by going to the bankruptcy court in D.C. and going to their module training session and see how the attorneys and everything then backdooring go in and file claims against the different accounts. They also can place secret liens on your assets that you never know about, because the lien is not against you outright, it's against your fiction, or it's against your license. So, when you read through these documents, they'll be pretty simple, straightforward. I didn't try and make them too complicated because I didn't want the judges and some of the judicial nitwits to get themselves confused. So I kept it straightforward and not get too wordy about it. This is all under Mosaic laws, too, because the Mosaic laws are the foundational laws for the U.S. Constitution and even the Articles of Confederation out here. They have to stay in compliance with those laws. And I've already addressed that to several different courts. And basically that has backed them down when you bring that in. Because then they know that you really know the real laws and not the bullshit laws. You stay totally away from the codes and colors of law. Those are their corporate laws. They're not for you. Okay? And I didn't mention one of them in this document. I just made reference that those codes and stuff belong to you guys. They don't belong to me. So, you can, basically you have a mortgage. You can use this document, just modify it and go in there and, as the president judge, and order that other judge to be the administrator, the executor, to bring about the closure of that mortgage. They have to bring about the just exchangement. They also have to, like I put in there, deliver back to you a complete accounting is to be presented to me as the president judge for its final concurrence and the court task. And this court task is ordered to be completed within 3 days. They can complete any of these banking transactions within 3 days. But the complete accounting is to be presented back to the president judge for its final concurrence. If you do not concur, you can go after that executor out there for dereliction of office. So you best know something about some accounting monitoring. Okay? Read these documents over.
Doug.
Okay? So, this is nothing hard, okay? All these people that have been out here telling you to stay away from amnesty are dead wrong. They're either working for the wrong side or basically they just don't know what they're talking about. Give them the benefit of the doubt and say they don't know what they're talking about. I don't give them that benefit any longer. Okay?
Patrick,
and then also some of these other people, basically, they are out there to totally deceive you in the word usage and everything. One of the key words that I came up with today was the word a. Look it up in Valentine's dictionary. I am a president, judge of age. Okay? And that's really where you are. When you come of age, that's a big usage in the Bible. So, you can go through these and look them over. Okay, I'll open it up for questions, but like I said, this will, if you go into admiralty in any court case and you come in and you get yourself standing as the president judge, or even if you need to have somebody else come in to help you, you can basically assign them as a assistant judge to you, but not as the executor. You assign the administrative court judge to be the executor. Okay? You just bring the other person in as a representative to aid you, but you stand there as the president judge in this admiralty court case, and then you can basically pardon your U.S. citizen in the fictional world. He's the one that's got the charges against him, not you. Okay? In all cases, they are out there trying to, and basically we're operating out here when we're on land, we're operating under a railroad system, okay? And what they're trying to do is divert you off onto a sidetrack so that they can perform a train robbery against you, rob your assets. Like I told a couple people, I said, you know what Stalin was before he became the head of Russia? He was a train robber.
No kidding.
And then after he became president of Russia, he became Russia's biggest train robber. Because communism is basically outright train robbery of the people's assets. In the process, when you understand, and that's where train, boats, and planes come in, we've got our ships, our citizen ships. And then we have, basically, in the commerce that's going on out here, we have our train track system of using the routing numbers, the Social Security number, and your EIN numbers as the routing switching numbers. Where is the cargo supposed to go on land by track. And it's tracked through the system by the IRS on the TT&L line. Okay? Okay. I'm done talking. I'll go ahead and open it up for questions.
You signed it as Patrick, Mr. Patrick Devine. Is that? Did you sort of? Is it a little different than when you were doing Mr. Devine Patrick before? Is that just
no.
Okay.
I just signed Mr. Patrick Devine. No colons or anything.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. All that stuff about the name game and everything like that we've been playing around here for years, coming out of the Patriot community or whatever community it is, the deceptive community, hasn't paid off anything. Going into court action, basically claiming sovereignty, that hasn't gotten anybody anything. So you have to stand back and say, why isn't that stuff working? Well, it's not right. That's why it's not working. Okay, any more questions?
You just mentioned the passport, using it for your mailing permit. Do I remember correctly? You said also the lifeboat number will work also?
You can use the number on the back of the Social Security card if you do not have a passport. Okay? Because both of those numbers are in the postal world. Okay? And it would just be a postal routing number in the postal world. And basically, what are we dealing with out here right now? The postal mail system.
So if I have a passport but use that number, the lifeboat number would be okay.
You can use either one, Tom. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I ordered a stamp yesterday and I put the lifeboat number on it.
Okay. Say the number on the back of the Social Security card. Don't confuse the other people. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That aren't up to snuff. Okay.
Right.
The number on the back of the Social Security card is your postal world monetary system. And then the Social Security number on the front side is basically your Social Security citizenship. They're both in the postal world. That one can gain you access directly to your American assets by usage of the federal the money orders that I had posted up there on the site.
Patrick, and that's also your master account number, right? I mean, rather number.
The what?
The back of the Social Security card is also your master number.
It is the master routing number when you go into the Federal Reserve banking system, and that's the one you use on Appendix A or Appendix 1, and also on Attachment B, Section 4. And then the other numbers on in Section 3 on Attachment B would be your EIN numbers, your estate EIN or whatever EIN number you want to assign to have that attached to your Federal Reserve banking access account.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
I don't know, there's supposed to be some heavy hitters or something on here tonight. I don't know whether they have any questions here, if they want to contact me in the private later on. My number's out there. Basically, it's on this document there. So, give a call.
Yeah,
Okay?
Either way would be fine.
Hey, Patrick, this is Stephen.
Yeah.
I was looking into presidential orders, and supposedly a president can only make executive orders under martial law, and we're still under the Lieber Code, so that allows us to do that.
Yeah. But we always had the capability of doing that because we're outside the corporation. See, that direction there is only under the corporate charter.
Okay.
Now, see, we're exempt from the corporate charter. That's why we're under the Articles of Confederation. We're outside their jurisdiction. We're outside their federal zone.
If we can do pardons or forgive debt, what should I do? Like in my case, when I countermanded and they don't do anything and they just stall.
You put this into them and then basically read the document that I had Tom put up yesterday going to the local court.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
Then you can turn around and file a warrant against them.
Okay.
You're wanted dead or not wanted dead or alive.
Oh, yeah, the warrant was at the end of the deal.
You don't have to go that far, okay?
Yeah.
But you can file a warrant against their bond of office.
Right.
Remove their bond of office. Or, basically, if they've caused you outright harm and you've tried to direct them to do the right thing and they, in a personal capacity, have a burr up their butt, then you can have them thrown in jail by either the sheriff or the U.S. Marshals. So you're coming in as the president judge, okay? A real judge, not these fictional judges that are out here.
Right, from our equity court, because they don't have judicial powers in equity. They
don't have judicial powers in, they only have what we get grant to them in admiralty. Okay? We assign them different job responsibilities. Okay? That's what the president does. He assigns who's going to be on his cabinet, doesn't he?
Right.
And then those cabinet members have to execute what his directions are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is pointed out numerous times in the movies and everything out here. If you know what you're looking for. White House down and Olympus has fallen. In several of those places, especially White House down, I think it was, that pointed out about the president. Basically, those other people are just cabinet members. If the president doesn't like you in his cabinet, you're out of there. You can always be replaced. They can. Okay? You can't be replaced as the president judge, but they can in their administrative capacity.
I heard the word landsman too before, because since we're from the land, we're made of minerals, and we're a landed mineral estate.
Yes.
But I'm not trying to confuse
That's why we are of the nation, and we fall under the laws of nations, not under laws of countries or anything like that, because there is no laws of countries out here on the books.
Right. We're a creation of the Creator.
Yeah. And I was thinking about one of the other things today. If you get the passport, okay, you paid your fee to the boatsman going between the Hades and the real world in the mythologies out here. That was your boatsman fee when you paid to get that passport. So now you're able to do passage from one world into the other world in the monetary system. That's what that U.S. citizen passport is all about. When you get out of the system and get your assets and your American citizenship back out of hock, or back out of being held in their confined area, which was supposed to be released after the age of 21, but you never went in there and cleaned it out, then you get it moved over to a protected harbor within the Treasury, and at that point in time, you will get your president passport, or basically document for world travel. A president doesn't need a driver's license. A president doesn't need to have pay filing fees for his vehicles. His airplane, Air Force One, basically doesn't have a license on it, just Air Force One. You have to pay for services, but other than that, no. You don't have to pay property tax on the White House. So you wouldn't have to pay property tax on your little White House either. And you can go to your Camp David. You can go off to Kitty Buckmore, Maine, or whatever, your retreats. But you have to have a permanent resident address to be a president. Okay? Go ahead. Any more questions? Well, I guess we got everything answered then, Tom.
Yeah. I don't have any questions because I've worked on the form all day long, gone over it. I think I understand it.
Okay.
Got to do it.
Now, just need to get the things in. And basically, just take something simple, like on your certificate of live birth. You just go in and put a simple statement on there that basically you're ordering the certificate of live birth, all the assets to be turned over, accrued at your inherent and accrued assets up to the present time to be released to you within 3 days. Then that certificate of live birth will be transferred over to your new protected American citizenship harbor, a docking, because it will continue to receive all future accruals, dividends, to where you are a shareholder of these corporations out here. You've got to have your dividends. All tariff taxes that come in against the nation, you get a share of them. All royalties for the usage of the assets below the ground of the nation, you also get a share of them. You've got to have a place, a certificate of that, your citizenship, on account. So you just transfer that certificate of live birth. That is your American citizenship document. It was given to you, in most cases, it was given to you 90 days after your birthday. That was in compliance with the Mosaic laws out there.
I'm really glad
that
you
they
added.
Basically talk about giving your assets to you at the age of 20. Okay? They accounted for the 9 years in the hopper, then 3 months afterwards, because most of these certificates did not go onto the books until 90 days after your birthday. So that would be 1 full year. Then, basically, after that, see, this certificate allowed the government access to utilize your assets for a period of 3 7-year periods, or 21 years total. they were still paying you a usage fee for that, so there were still deposits going into your account. They only used the assets as collateral, okay? They could not pull the assets out, because these assets, that once they go into your account, they're like in a safety deposit account, a piggy bank. Once it goes through the slot, they don't have the key to pull it out the bottom. Only you do. But they can put a sticker on the outside of that piggy bank and say that basically you can't pull that amount out until this lien or whatever is settled. But after 21 years, basically all those liens are basically fraud. You can order a settlement out of that account. But you have to know how the bond, the liens and the bonds that they write operate. And they all operate on a 3-year cycle.
Question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, on your attachments, are you sending the actual documents or are you sending copies? I'm assuming copies.
You make a copy, a JPG copy, and then put it onto a Word document so that you can type your information around and put your signature on the item. Draw a red cross on over the document so that basically you're saying you are crucifying this trade usage agreement. And that's what most of these things are in their process. You're allowing them to use them as a trade agreement. You can look up presidential trade agreement in the dictionary.
Thank you.
Okay, and you already have a format out there for us to work off of.
Well, I had something out there before, I think.
Yeah.
When I was going to the International Court of Trade. But now going to this one, you would modify it slightly to address this being in admiralty.
Right. We do it as our presidential judge order, and we do it as against the trade agreement to the district court.
And that you are assigning them to be the executor.
Right. I really love that you put the future accruals in as a very specific order into that.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Yeah, when you pardon something and then forgive it or whatever, pardon or forgive, and how does that equate to picking up the fees for, like, say, the appearance bond or something like that? I don't see how that works.
Well, you basically, in the court document that I had Tom put up yesterday, you will see that I addressed the appearance bonds.
Okay.
Okay? And I told them that I have a complete accounting for them, that I'm just addressing this in general. You should have on your records how much those appearance bonds were, and basically I can go back into my records and know, and that's why you get all the records out of this admiralty court for the closure of this. You get the accounting documents when they bring this to closure, so that you can see that. And if you know that basically, hey, I didn't get all my appearance bonds, what's going on here? Are you trying to pull a fraud against me? And then you can turn around and charge if they do not come back and say, oh, we missed that, or something like that. And then you can forgive them at that point in time. But this is all right out of the Bible, especially in the New Testament, about the bad servant scenario. And several of these judges have been taken down and thrown into federal prison because of this type of scenario. to where they were bad servants and they were trying to siphon off the assets for their own benefit.
Yeah, like they think we are a servicing agent when really the executive officer of the whole corporation, on their corporation, or the governor or something, he's the executive officer, and we're just supposed to be a pass-through. We're supposed to hand it back over.
That's because we don't know who we are, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody has stood up to them in the right way because nobody's come in admiralty. We've been told not to do that.
Right.
Okay, so until we stand up in the right capacity, they're going to blow right by us.
Yeah, sidetrack you. Yeah, sidetrack you.
It's just like in football. Basically, you're standing on the line, and basically, if the other guy gets you leaning in the wrong direction, he can just push you over with one finger. He doesn't need to slam into you. You're leaning the wrong way. And basically, he can topple you just by a slight push, and you're gone by him.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you always talk on the line to get the other person off guard. Football. You never stop talking when you're playing football. I mean, you're always harassing that other guy on the other side of the line, trying to get him to make an error, and then you can utilize that error against him and make him pay. And that's what they do to us. And that's why they get us, try and get people in the court running their damn mouths off there thinking they know what the hell they're talking about. And they don't. And they just keep rattling on and on. Judge just keeps sitting there. Yeah. Boy, he's digging a bigger hole all the time. Let him go. We'll show him that he doesn't know shit. And they do. You come in, make your simple statements. This is just a 2-page document to cover your whole financial life. Wrapped up in 2 simple pages. You make your statement, and then shut up. Now, the onus is upon them. But in a regular court case, you go in there and you make the simple statement, I am the president. The venue of this court is now in admiralty, and I am the president judge in this case, and I am ordering the pardoning of these against my U.S. citizenship. Do you have any problem? Because I'm making you the executor to bring about the settlement. The charges are really against the insurance policy, the driver's license insurance policy, or the certificate of title insurance policy. They're not against the living individual. They're just trying to take part of your insurance benefits away from you.
One more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Just to get this straight now, I haven't done an EIN. Is that would it still be necessary for me to do an EIN, do you think, or can I just do this without it?
Well, you're going to need your foreign grantor trust EIN down the road, because when you pay with real assets out here, whether they come out of your off your American citizenship or out of your back pocket, in the postal world system, you're out there putting your money into a discount system. Okay? They're giving you a discount against your real assets. They're not giving you the full value. So you have to be able, at the end of the year, turn around and do an OID against those assets that you put into circulation and get that payment back. You're not going to get the full amount back, but it will make you feel a lot better getting the same equal value back. But like I said the other day, a vehicle in 1967 cost roughly about $3,000. Today, that same vehicle costs $30,000. The minerals that went into the makeup of that vehicle haven't really changed. The labor asset value that went into that vehicle hasn't really gone all up that much, not the 10 times full of that vehicle. So you turn around, you pay the $30,000, you get $30,000 back. You're only getting a partial of the inflation of that back. But in the process, you're helping to decrease the inflationary value out here in the country.
Okay, that's I appreciate that. Tomorrow,
Okay.
what I'm interested in doing is I'm going to have this letter ready, and I'm going to send it out to our friends here at the 9th District. In fact, I can walk it down there, and I'm going to walk it down to the California Superior Court. But could I still do the EIN maybe later in the day, or would I have to include it on the attachment, do you think?
No, you don't need to have that on there. I don't have the EIN on that document.
Okay, I see American Citizenship Financial Vessel. Is that a? I'm trying to compare that with your Social Security number. That's your.
The American Citizenship Vessel is your certificate of live birth registration number. All ships that come into the United States of America, the United States, the nation, have to be registered with the Department of Treasury. Okay? Basically, because the Treasury has to account for, through their Customs Division, whether they need to be taxed for cargo that's being brought in or being exited from the country. That's why all ships have to be registered with the Treasury Department. You're registering your ship, your American citizen-ship. And then also your U.S. citizen-ship.
Okay. I'm looking at my my County of San Mateo Certificate of Live Birth long form here in California. I see there's a set of 6 and 3 numbers stamped on the top, but one, excuse me.
There should be a number up the top that has 3 digits, okay? That is basically identifying your area within the state, okay? Then the next 2 set of numbers is the last 2 numbers of the year of your birth. Then the next 6 numbers are basically your sequence number in that year. And basically that's pretty much the standard format established in 1948-49 time frame. I think it was 48. To use that 326 or an 11-digit registration accounting number, all except for Pennsylvania, which is stayed on a 7-year numbering system, and also the state of Massachusetts, which basically, I don't know whether it's just Boston area or whether it's the whole state, didn't go to that numbering system. But and then several other ones that basically were out there prior to 1948 that have a different numbering system, but it should appear on the state long form, not necessarily on the county long form.
Right.
But you should be able to go into the county record book and obtain that number.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, you can do a court order, if need be, to go into that county record book. I've been into the back room and seen my entry. They will cover up the other entries on that page and showed me my entry in the book of life.
Yeah. Okay, now, so the number won't necessarily be on the long form. It might be harder.
Well,
to find.
it's not on. In some states, it's not on the county records. Okay. In my state, at the county that I was in, they put it on there. Okay.
Okay. I think you're right about that.
You need to go and get it from the state office, and you need to say that you need this for your personal records.
Okay.
That this document is not going to be out and put into the public records, because they're not going to put that number on the public record document that you send out to the school or whatever that you're trying to apply to.
Okay.
Because that's your cargo, your account number.
Yeah. Okay. So beautiful thing about me is I'm in Sacramento, which is the capital, so I can go downtown to the state and try to find this number somewhere. Take the long form.
Well, fill out the form and pay the fee to get that number, and say that you want. And on the form, it should have addressed whether this is for private or for personal or public usage.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Hey, Patrick?
Yeah.
Chris from the UK, remember, he's having trouble speaking, and he asked some questions in the box here. He's asking, isn't that what the judges are doing, siphoning off our funds?
Well, they're picking up the insurance policies that we abandoned.
Okay.
When we don't claim, the charge is against the insurance policy.
Right.
That's out there, okay? Like your marriage certificate, basically, a marriage certificate. Why does the state get into a marriage with the people? Because they can put a lien against both the husband and the wife's assets at the state level. Write bonds out there. So they have an insurance policy. That insurance policy, why they're in the marriage, was to replace either party in the marriage if one of them dies. The state was supposed to step in and replace being the missing partner in the marriage to supply the insurance. But see, nobody knows that. Everything out here is about insurance. It was brought into this country in 1887, liability insurance. And it has escalated back in the 1920s and the 30s by the bankers and by the state governmental systems. That's how they were able to get all control of all the government officials out here, was by insurance bribery.
Okay.
Payoff, kickbacks, giving them vacations, giving them retirements out here that they were not entitled to begin with. They weren't supposed to be in that office as a year-round office. You go back and see how Representative Davy Crockett, when he was in there, okay? He was in there. They would go out there maybe for 3 months into Washington, D.C., and then the rest of the time they went back and operated their farm. There was no lifetime commitment, and there was no retirement coming out of that. They did get a salary while they were there, but that was minimum.
Okay.
You have to study history out here and understand what's really going on and how we've gone through 3 sets of corporate governments in this nation. The first corporate government under the charter was a non-for-profit government. The second, in 1872, was a for-profit government. And then the third one, under Wilson and Roosevelt, became a communist socialist government out here, to where they tried to claim ownership of every damn thing in this country. and bringing in their usury system and their liability insurance system.
He also says that when I had stood up in Admiralty, I got into trouble. I put on the face of my document in caps "in Admiralty," and these were cases in the U.S. and Illinois. Remember, he's from the U.K. And he's still a U.K. citizen, not a U.S. citizen. Also, I didn't have.
You can't claim Admiralty unless you have a residence. A permanent residence, okay? You have to be the president or a resident to go into Admiralty.
Okay. He didn't have a U.S. driver's license or Social Security or any EIN.
Right. And if he didn't have that, then basically he's a foreigner, and basically he should have stood under foreign immunity.
Okay. And he just said, okay, got it, didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, and see and because if you are a permanent resident, you are a president, and you come in as the president judge. You don't let them tell you what to do. You tell them what to do. And see, that's what too many people, they want them to tell them everything to do. You've got to act like the boss. You're the master. Okay?
Okay, good.
The document you were talking about that you posted yesterday, that was the order for accounting and settlement?
At the state level. At the state level.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
He added that today.
Yeah, I went to Keokuk County, clerk of the court.
Okay, I haven't found that one yet.
It went up just a couple of hours ago.
No, the one yesterday.
Oh, okay.
That we posted yesterday was the one that I sent to you about going to the state level, and it was being addressed to the Keokuk County clerk of the court.
Okay. Yeah, it's called State District Court Terminate Trade Agreement.
Right. That should be it.
Yeah, that was posted April 21st, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I found it.
Yeah, I guess it was Monday, because they should have gotten it yesterday. Yeah. Or no, they should have gotten it today. And they got 3 days to get their ass together, or basically I'll come after them. No, I won't come after them. I'll have the U.S. Marshals come after them. Bill Smith.
Patrick,
Yeah.
Is hand delivery okay?
Well, I would say no, okay?
Okay.
I would say that you go and you do a certificate of mailing, okay?
Right.
You get one of those little certificates of mailing documents, and you fill it out at home. You basically use your first-class mailing, postage and fees prepaid, and per your permit number, so you don't have to pay any postage. You do the little certificate of mailing. You have write that on the outside of the envelope, and you assign the number, the certificate of mailing number, and then you also put that number on your little card, and then you put a 2-cent stamp on the little card, and then you put it to who it's to and who it's from, and then you cancel that stamp. You sign, date, and cancel that stamp. Now you've got confirmation that you dropped that in the mailbox that day.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you take it into the court, you better get a stamped copy of that back from the clerk of the court.
Right.
But see, in a lot of cases, they may not want to touch that, but by mail, they have to.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when you do first class mail postage permit paid, normally there's a number or a metered amount. Should we put a metered amount on that or not?
No,
Okay.
there's no metered amount. Take a look at your IRS documents you get back from them. They just have a permit number on there.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. See, postage is prepaid in the dead world. And that's what postal stands for, is the dead world.
Afterlife.
And the last thing they want is a resurrection.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
I just have one other comment. I did some goofy stuff with Kurt Kallenbach. I don't know if you know what he was, but I hand wrote some things and took a copy of my birth certificate to the Secretary of State with my thumbprint and such. So his idea was that if it's handwritten, it's more showing that it's from the live man. But I just thought I'd pass that on. He's kind of doing the same thing, but not near as clean as what you're doing. You're there all by yourself, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, see, you don't take this to the Secretary of State. They're not going to be able to do anything. They can't do an adjudication or a just exchangement. They don't have that capability. That's why you have to go to these federal district court judges and basically make them the executor. You don't want to be the executor. The executor is the one that gets his hands dirty. And then you also have the hammer over the executor that if they do not comply, then you can bring charges against them. See, that's one of the fallacies that basically in the movement out there, oh, you've got to be the executor. No, you don't want to be the executor, and you want to be an admiralty. That's the two key things, and then basically you need to claim a resident. That's one of the other things they had you not doing. You don't want to be a resident. Well, you need to know what a resident is. You have to have a fixed place in the nation. Not a federal zone, but a fixed resident on the land. But yet you can have your Kennebunkport, Maine, and your Camp David and everything else, your retreats all over the world. You have to have a home port. And that's what your residence is. Where is your permanent docking for this time frame? You can always pick that permanent docking up and move it to someplace else and establish a new permanent resident address. That's why you were able to have roughly 10 requests for Social Security cards, because you're moving your residence. It wasn't to set up a whole new account, because when you move the residence, you terminate the old place, and you now, everything else is now being assigned to that new place. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, Tom, go ahead and terminate it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You guys have no questions? It's good to have a short call because you had specific things you wanted to do.
Well, that way they don't have to listen to 24 hours of BS, I guess. Okay.
That's good. Just
talk to you later.
You call me to be whatever length they are.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you later. Take care. Bye.
Bye. I guess I'll turn off the recording at this point.